We were on the ground in South Dakota over the weekend for the failed former president, twice impeached, 4 times indicted and arrested, civilly liable rapist Donald Trump. That's the guy. But before we get to our interviews with Trumpists, we have to look at this totally farcical attempt at a speech by the failed former president. Donald Trump apparently thought, hey, I don't know, between arrests and criminal trials, I'll head out to South Dakota and do a speech. Kristi Noem will endorse me, and she's going to, be a brown-nosing sycophant the way she's been, and the entire thing. This could not have gone more poorly for Trump. Rambling incoherently. Take a look at this. Does anyone know what this is about?
Remember Hillary with the thing with the women screaming, that one woman with the glasses, she's become famous? No. That was the most beautiful stage I've ever seen. By the end of the evening, it didn't look pretty. They rigged the presidential election.
Any idea what on earth Trump is talking about? And you'll notice that during the Newsmax broadcast, if you're watching, a phone number, they were, what strange times we're living in. Alongside the Trump speech was a Rudy Giuliani legal defense fund promotion on the side of the screen. Truly incredible stuff. Next, Donald Trump arguing that because Joe Biden is getting him indicted, when he is president again, he will just call and demand the indictment of people. This is the dangerous dictatorial stuff I was telling you about last week.
91 fake and phony charges, 91. How many charges are there? But we're going to ask for dismissals of a lot of it. Most of it is just, you ask for dismissal. It's called dismiss the charges. But remember, it's a Democrat charging his opponent. Nobody's ever seen anything like it. That means that if I win and somebody wants to run against me, I call my attorney general. I say, listen, indict him. Oh, he hasn't done anything wrong that we know of. I don't know. Indict him on income tax evasion. You'll figure it out.
There you go.
I did everything right and they indicted me.
Trump openly saying, I'll just have my political opponents indicted. Of course, there is no evidence that Joe Biden has been involved in any of the 4 criminal indictments of Trump. If anybody has such evidence, please forward it to me. Trump then reviews or refreshes, rehabilitates the tired lie that he's being indicted for speech for things he said.
And I used to treat him with a modicum of respect because I have respect for the office of the presidency, and I would never talk the way I talk now. But when they indicted me for nothing, for free speech, I said the election was rigged and stolen, which it was, and everybody knows that. Free speech.
Whether or not you know that, whether or not you believe it, it does not matter. I'm not going to belabor it because you all know, I've talked about it so many times. Donald Trump has not been indicted federally nor in Georgia because he believed the election was stolen. Whether it was or wasn't, whether he knew he was lying or not, it does not matter. Trump was not indicted for that reason. He was indicted for the criminal conspiracy to send fake electors forward, to defraud those who voted, to strong arm elected officials, all of those different things. Trump then goes on to talk about how there are so commonly people who just leave politics when they get in legal trouble. But Trump isn't going to be bullied around in that way.
My case is unusual, but maybe at some point that switches. You go with these people and they're sick, and they say this, that, and that, and you have to prove.
By the way, during this part of the speech, the crowd was completely dead.
But it's incredible. But if you take a look at what they do to the publicity of a person, and I know numerous people over the years that I've really thought were honest in many cases, and they were literally out of politics in a matter of hours. Some of them literally quit immediately upon getting served with a subpoena. That won't happen with me.
There you go. Crowd coming to life. Trump won't leave no matter what they've got him on. Trump then bringing up the topic of North Korean dictator Kim Jong Un and says that with Kim Jong Un, I guess he thinks Kim Jong Un is going to build luxury condos on the beach. It's all so disjointed that not even the crowd understands.
Dealt. I went over there. You remember that? It was a very historic moment. Went over there. And I said to Kim Jong Un, being a real estate guy, it's just sort of natural. I said, you have the most beautiful shoreline. Think of it. You're between China, Russia, and South Korea. Look at the beautiful shore. You could have the most beautiful condos that you've ever seen and become rich as hell. You don't have to live like you're living. But he's a tough guy. He's a smart guy, and he just loves collecting nuclear weapons. That's what he does. He collects nuclear weapons. And we got along incredibly well once we met and once we started the whole thing. And we saved the Olympics in South Korea because nobody was going. Nobody wanted to be blown out of the stadium. And we came along. They actually participated in the Olympics. We had a great relationship, and it would have been great if we would have had a deal done long ago.
Yep, it's just all so great with Kim Jong Un. Trump then going into the dramatic conspiracy QAnon music and weirdly focusing on the fact that many militaries are moving in the direction of electric tanks. This is so stupid.
And now we are a nation that wants to make our great army tanks all electric, so that despite the fact that they will not be able to go very far either, few pollutants will be released into the air as we blast our way through enemy territory. And also, we are a nation who wants to make our jet fighters with a green energy stamp.
This is all just so stupid. So listen, I don't even know why Trump is talking about this. Electric tanks are quieter. With infrared technology, they're also more difficult to locate. Like, not that we need to be doing military strategy on this show. Certainly, they're more efficient in general. Electric vehicles are more efficient per mile than internal combustion engines, gas-powered, diesel-powered, etc. And by the way, lots of other countries that Trump is worried we are falling behind, including China, are already going forward with this technology. So I don't know, you never really know how Trump becomes fixated on some of these things, but he does. Trump then lastly talking about the overturning of Roe v. Wade. He says, it didn't help Republicans, but it was the right thing.
And I'm going to tell you something, because it's really a positive. It's a big positive, but they try and play it as a negative. Last year, those justices bravely and incredibly ruled on something that everybody has wanted for decades, for 51 years. They ruled to end Roe v. Wade. That was a big thing.
Crowd loves that, that's for sure.
And it's probably cost us politically, because the other side got energized. And, they're the radicals, not the pro-lifers. But now pro-lifers have a tremendous power to negotiate. They have a power. You had no power to negotiate, because with Roe v. Wade, you couldn't negotiate. They could do anything they wanted. We didn't have any of that before this ruling. This moves the issue back to the states, where every legal scholar said it should be. And like President Ronald Reagan, good man, but like Ronald Reagan before me, I support the 3 exceptions for rape, incest, and life of the mother. I support. Not everybody does. I think a large portion do.
Little smattering of applause there for him. All right.
I think you should, but again, that's your own feeling. Remember, the Democrats are the radicals on this issue because they're willing to kill babies in their 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th month, and even after birth.
Now, of course, we've discussed this extensively. There is no after-birth abortion. It's by definition not an abortion, but it's also not happening. Also, we've talked about 9-month abortion, 8-month abortion. Something like 93% of abortions are before 14 weeks. And then the vast majority of that remaining 7 are the immediate period after that. And these 8-9 month situations are extraordinarily rare. They're related to the health either of the fetus or the mother. This is an entire made up story. But Trump may be right that Republicans did not benefit from the repeal of Roe v. Wade in those midterms. So another disastrous rally. Is Trump's heart even in it, given that he's between arrest and trial and potentially facing life in prison? I don't know. But the cultists were out. And that's what I want to talk about next. You know, one of the odd things that goes on in bathrooms in the United States, where is this going? Is, when I moved to the US from Argentina, there's really no bidets in the United States. The bidet is just a part of life in Argentina. And why would you make a compromise in the bathroom? Why not have the elevated level of comfort and cleanliness, which is now easy and affordable with our sponsor, Hello Tushy? The Hello Tushy bidet cleans everything with a fresh stream of water, 2 times better than alternatives like paper. You just spray and pat. It cuts down toilet paper use by 80%. It saves you money. It reduces paper waste. So a Hello Tushy bidet really pays for itself in under a year, attaches to your existing toilet. You don't need an electrician. You don't need a plumber. You install it. Takes 8 minutes or less. Super easy. I got one and it is fantastic. And with over 100,000 5-star reviews, every bidet comes with a 30-day risk-free guarantee, 12-month warranty. There's a special Labor Day deal for my audience. Get 40% off all bidets and bundles by visiting hellotushy.com/Pacman and using promo code Pacman. Sale ends September 11th. That's today. So act fast. The link is down below.